The British pound is trying to leave this triangle, and the reason for this is not necessarily linked, I would say, to what's happening in the UK. I would say it's more linked to what's going on here with the US government bond yields that are pushing higher and higher and higher, as well if you look at something like the dollar yen is pushing things upwards. Of course, the situation is not really helping in the UK. So Liz Truss, the Prime Minister, she resigned, and we should hopefully know by Friday next week who's going to be the next leader of the UK. Right now, there are bets for about £550,000 here with smart markets. And Rishi Sunak is leading with a 55.6% likelihood of getting the role. And then you have Boris Johnson at 31.3%. That's correct. Boris Johnson possibly coming back. I think from an economics point of view and just sort of political, I think Rishi Sunak probably be better. But I think the reason why Boris is getting this sort of support is just because of this. So the likelihood of having an overall majority for Labour is at 49.5%. So it obviously soared. And the likelihood of the Conservatives having a majority at the next general election is just at 14.71. Personally, I think that if we would have Boris Johnson back, it would polarize the UK society even more. And I would suspect really that the Conservative majority would definitely be lost at that point. We'll see how this plays out. I think from a economic point of view, Rishi Sunak is probably good for stability. The question is this though, is he going to be able to get the economy back up again? It's not really going to help if taxes are very high. So obviously if they do tax cuts plus spending cuts, you can potentially find a good mix, because in current status quo, it's not really helping. So from a trading perspective, what does this mean then? Well, obviously the political turmoil is not going to help the UK and the British pound. Right now, the euro is down with 0.5%. Whereas GBPUSD is down with 1.18%. So it's definitely not helping this situation, and we're breaking this triangle. And I would continue to be bearish, I think, as long as you trade right now below 114.17. I think we can go lower, maybe towards 109.60. And then as per the target, probably going to go down to 103.84 again. But don't rely too much on this specific pattern, because it could morph. It could become something like this. With ATFX, we have the support resistance indicator, and we've been bearish here for a couple of days actually. We got the first signal here already on October 13th with a stop loss up here that it was to sell here, just in line with the general trend. So I would say if you don't want to get too close to all the action, just being bearish below 114.65 is probably the best. So a correction towards 112, 112.87 again, I think is going to be met by sellers.